Are good leaders born, or are they made? What we know is that it takes all kinds of experiences to lead, especially in the social sector. Welcome to The Ripple Effect. I'm Caroline Broadhurst, Deputy Chief Exec at the Rank Foundation. In this series, I'll be speaking with leaders from across the UK, learning what led them to work in the social sector and what shaped them into the inspiring leaders they are today. In this episode, I'm joined by James Watts-Rees, the Director of Generation Rhondda. Generation Rhondda works to educate and inspire change in Rhondda and make the lives of the local community better. James is a former Rank Aspire participant, an active member of Rank's Leaders Action Group, and he was a compere at the 2023 conference. James is passionate about rugby, and you'll hear what a huge influence the sport has had on his connection to his community and his leadership style. Now, anyone who knows James will know that his leadership style is high energy and hugely positive. But was he always like this? I asked James about his childhood to find out more. What were you like as a kid?
Hyper, into everything, very much like I am now, probably. I probably haven't changed that much. I was really unwell. I got really bad asthma, and I spent a lot of my childhood actually in and out of hospital quite a lot, so that definitely affected my education and stuff like that. But yeah, as a child, very happy, real strong family unit, sort of into everything, very inquisitive, wanted to know lots about the world, loved being with people, very much was in a room and like, hello, everybody look at me. Yeah, that was sort of what I think of myself as. I didn't really get on with education. I enjoyed for the social side of it, but I wasn't a massive fan of education. And I think a lot of that, looking back now, was because I missed so much core time. Like growing up, I really struggled with lots of like simple things like writing. So like even now my handwriting is absolutely atrocious. I can spell fine, I can read fine. Looking back now, that's why I think I converse better. So I think I like almost learned I do not want to handwrite ever again. I want to be able to talk to people, you know.
And what kind of hopes and aspirations did you have for yourself?
It was really difficult. I went through this period of time in and out of school, almost in secondary school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I think I can remember I wanted to be a Power Ranger. I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer. But outside of that, it was a really difficult time. I didn't really know where I fitted in or know what I actually wanted to do with my life. And I didn't have a place in society. And that really, really freaked me out. And I think lots of young men go through that. And they get to this age of like 18 and go, oh, I haven't really done very well in school. I haven't, got my head down and got results. So I didn't have loads of hopes and aspirations. I knew I wanted to help people. I was really into the rugby at the time, coaching and stuff. So I actually dropped out of sixth form and I went and done an apprenticeship on the tracks, on the railway. And it was terrible. I hated every minute of it, but, it was a good job for where I'm from. So I sort of stuck at it and I was really, really fortunate then. I managed to land a job with the Welsh Rugby Union as an apprentice for a year. So I was really lucky with that.
Brilliant. Where did that love of rugby come from?
Obviously, one, being Welsh. I think that comes with, being born, the love of rugby. And I played in junior school and really got into it then. I went training a couple of times for a local team and my asthma was just not letting me compete or do. I sort of give up in that respect. And then as I was going into secondary school and sort of year 7, year 8, I had a really nasty injury to my right leg. So I fell and a stick went through my leg and I broke my ankle at the same time. So I was like in a cast for like 6 weeks, in and out of hospital, 3 operations because it was all infected. And my mother volunteered me to coach the local sort of under 5s. And I was like, oh, I can't believe you've done this. Like, why have you volunteered me to do this? It is a great knack of my family. They volunteer me to do things. So I went and I started coaching and I fell in love with it. Honestly, I fell in love with it. I love the thought of developing people, not just in rugby, but, as people. And I was really fortunate that I had some really good parents behind me as well that sort of bought into what I was trying to do. And I was only like 15 at the time, so it looked very strange, these 5 and 6 year olds playing rugby and I was sort of standing behind them like, oh yeah, I'm the coach, here I am, sort of thing. Very quickly it sort of became an obsession. I wanted to be the best coach and it just snowballed from there. So every year I'd take them through the age groups and then we broke off and with the support of the Welsh Rugby Union we created the Minors, which was a girls only rugby hub. My 2 sisters played in it in different age groups and I coached my younger sister and we went all the way through to under 16s with that team. And I think at the time it literally gave me purpose. I did not see a direction for myself outside of anything else other than that. But, looking back now, it all started from that coaching those under fives and growing up with them. But yeah, learnt a lot very quick, as you can imagine, coaching 15-year-old girls rugby. That shaped me as well more than I think I realised now, looking back, reflecting on it. Tremendous amount of work went into supporting them, supporting some of them to get into jobs, supporting some of them now to get into college. We've been fortunate enough that a couple have gone and got Welsh caps, which is, tremendous. So it showed the programme, the system worked. And Mark Hutton came to us and he was filming for Played Against Sport. Now, to me, I had no idea what Played Against Sport was. And he was watching me coach. And then he said to me after, if there was an opportunity for you to come and do some shadow coaching in the Cardiff Blues with the women's side, would you be interested? I was like, 100%, don't need to think about it, sign me up, let's go. And I did. I went and I observed and I shadowed the coaches, and I learned a tremendous amount from that.
And how did that connect with your first steps into the social sector?
So I'd done my coaching and I'd done a year with the Welsh Rugby Union, and working for the Welsh Rugby Union is a badge of honour in Wales in one sense. Not so much now, but it was, waking up every day as an apprentice, putting 3 feathers on your chest is fantastic. And I was just coming to the end of my role with the WRU, and I seen a post on Facebook. Mark Hutton wrote a post about wanting a young person that was involved in sport to help deliver in schools, and some traits and attributes are on there of who they were looking for, community orientated, working with young people. And I was like, Mark, this kind of sounds like I'm your guy. So I sort of pestered him, and he brought me down to the office where I met James Hall, and they said, look, there's this opportunity called the RAP programme with Rank. You're going to have to interview like twice or 3 times. It was very strange, and it happened really, really quick. And I was like, yeah, I'm 100% in. There I was at People and Work.
And the rest is history.
Sort of, yeah.
Had you heard of the social sector before? Was it new to you?
In terms of social sector, being called the social sector, yeah, it definitely was new to me. Like how funding worked, how people had jobs. So it was very new, very interesting. And then Mark Hutton went and got a different job in, I think it was the March of the September I started. So like Mark was my mentor. He went and got a different job. So it was me and James all sort of sitting there going, how are we going to turn this ship around? So it was wild, absolutely wild.
And with coming into the social sector from sports and from rugby, has it lived up to your expectations? Or?
Oh, and beyond, definitely. I think especially the age I came into it at with no sort of prior experience. Like, I talk to people now who like social workers end up in this sector, or they come from the NHS and now they work in this sector. I didn't have that. I literally had some rugby coaching badges. And now to think of the work we are doing now and achieving in the Rhondda, I think is far surpasses ever what I would have dreamed of doing, and helping Rhondda people. And
tell us about Rhondda. Where is it? What are the people like? What's the community like?
Hopefully I'm represented as well. Very tight-knit. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows what's going on. And within that, there's lots of different battles. Poverty. But poverty looks very different. So I think when we last done some research, the Rhondda has one of the highest in-work poverty rates. So lots of people are still on the breadline, even working full-time. So we're seeing food banks actually strained because they're not just supporting people who are on sort of the cusp or on the breadline in terms of non-employed and struggling. We are working with nurses now who are using food banks. That's what makes it really challenging. It's not easy to locate. And that's what's really difficult. Like homeless, you come to London, you come to Cardiff, you see homelessness on the street. We see lots of sofa surfing, which is great. They got a roof over their head, but it's really hard for us to find them then. The people are amazing, absolutely second to none. I think, we went through a really tough time recently. A young man called Bryce bravely battled cancer and passed away. And if you've seen the community come together for him, we put on a football game, raised £1,000 in 60 minutes. We had cars turn up and people from all over turning up, donating money. And if you see us, people who don't have a lot give what they got. It was special, really special. So I hope that gives a good sense of what the Rhondda is. It's based in South Wales, known for rugby, choirs, coal, and hopefully it's a handsome, cheeky young man.
Brilliant. And Generation Rhondda has come out of the People and Work unit. Can you tell us a bit about both organisations and your aspirations for the organisation?
Yeah, definitely. People and Work means a lot to me. This is why I'm here today in one sense. So it's an action research organisation that does lots of commissioned pieces of research, and that helps influence and fund some of the project work then that is done by the project team. So they actually came out of industry closing down in the Blaen y Gwent region, which is a couple of valleys over from the Rhondda in South Wales. And then they chose the Rhondda as an area that they wanted to work in. They'd worked in there little bits, but they wanted to give a really, really good go for 10 years. I started my rap placement with People and Work, and like I said at the time, we literally only had 2 members of staff on the project team. It was like a real dire time. So we done some really cool work with People and Work, and we really quickly picked up a lot of people who are really, really talented in their fields, so like tech, education, employment, and we've been doing lots of different work ever since, a lot around like alleviating poverty. People and Work's model is they work somewhere for 10 years, then they pull out, and we all sort of looked at each other and went, well, we want to stay, we want to serve our people, you know. 1, because we love it, 2, because it's still needed in the Rhondda, and that's how Generation Rhondda was born. So we've overnight become experts in setting up a charity and finding trustees. We like to think lots of funders are excited about it because they know us, they know what sort of things we do, what energy we got. We're very different. We try to be dynamic and agile in the issues we come across in the community, and try to fight them in a way which is very different, because we do have so many good links with partners. So that's where Generation Rhondda is, and hopefully it's just going up like that.
And what kind of projects do you carry out?
So we've got a fantastic one. This is one I'm really proud of in terms of the staff delivering. Natasha Owen came to us through the Golden Awards, and she'd done a project called Reading Rhondda, and that was to fight the aggression in reading age we've seen in the Rhondda after the pandemic. And that project has just gone from strength to strength to strength to strength to strength, and is now even, you know, helping parents go through like dyslexia diagnosis. It's gone on to cooking clubs, you know, cooking on a budget. It's gone out to sort of tiny trekkers, so getting little ones out walking with parents and then talking. But I think fundamentally what it got people doing was reading with their children. And we're pushing that back in, because children learn better when they're learning with their parents. When they're doing work at home, they do learn better. So yeah, that's one of the projects. We've got a big project then around digital inclusion, and that's still really important to what we do. And then Tom Jenkins, who was a former rapper, he's doing employment. So again, even though lots of people are in employment in Rhondda, so our employment rate is okay, but we have people in really poor jobs. You know, that's another big project that we're undertaking now, is helping people who are in poor jobs get into better jobs. I think that's really important for us as well.
Natasha was supported through the Golden Awards, which of course was a grants programme we ran to celebrate 50 years of the Rank Foundation.
Yeah, and fundamentally changed our organisation, because we found Natasha, and, you know, we started off this little reading project, and it has blown exponentially. You know, we've taken on more staff to support Natasha doing that. And again, you know, Natasha came from like a play scheme setting and has so many different skills and attributes that we now are able to use in the community. And, you know, we've had myself and Tom come through the RAP scheme. Rayleigh's on the RAP scheme now as well.
So can you tell us what the RAP scheme is?
Yes, I can. I will try my best.
So the Rank Aspire programme.
Yes, the Rank Aspire programme takes young leaders in usually like areas of poverty, I would say. That's what my experience of it was, and helps them become leaders within their community. So like for me, I was with People and Work who were working in my area at the time and identified me as a leader. So what we've tried to do with RAP, and I think what organisations should do, hopefully, with RAP, is actually have these people already lined up. To me, this is not like a job advert. This is like a literal life-changing 1-year programme for a young person to go on. And it's not just about the job, it's about these young leaders developing and learning, not from just the organisation, the community they serve, but when they go and meet each other, they share good practice there as well. And it comes with a budget, which I think is tremendous, that these young leaders can access to do more training. And I think that's really, really important.
So what would you say you're most proud of with Generation Rhondda?
Great question.
So far, early days.
One, staff. I think we've got a young core team, and seeing where they've come from and start their RAP or Time to Shine journey, or even the Golden Awards journey, to where they are now is completely different. But the work they are doing now in their community is generally inspiring. And another one then, we had lots and lots of Nigerian students studying in the local university, then living in the Rhondda, but really, really struggling financially. really struggling with visas in terms of getting a job. And so this was brought to our attention through a partner in the Trussell Trust, and we put on events to help them get into work. But what we had to learn around immigration, like literally overnight, because if you don't have like certain level of immigration advice, you can end up with some really hot water giving out certain advice. And we had to learn how to navigate visas, how to navigate the issues with family, and they've got no recourse to public funding, so children will literally go to school hungry. We've seen children putting paper in their shoes because they had holes. And what we've managed to do with that community now, by integrating them into the Rhondda and helping them, apply for jobs, working with employers to look at their CVs and see what they've already done, I think has been really, really good. And that's something I'm really proud of that we've managed to do. And it's beyond our expertise, because at core, I'm very much a people person, rugby coach, want to do what's best. But that was way beyond our area of expertise, but we managed to get it done. And I think that was really important.
And what's your role?
So I get to run the motley crew that we got there, yeah. So I'm the director of Generation Rhondda, and sort of my role is to make sure we are sticking to our sort of charitable aims and objectives, doing right by the community, and protecting our staff in one sense as well. Working where you live is really, really difficult thing to do. And I think that poses lots of challenges, but lots and lots of positives as well. Whereas, people have to go through lots of red tape to get stuff done. We know people within the community really quickly, whether that be from the local council, from a different charity, or a man with a van sort of job. We're lucky we know people. And I think we try to be as pure as we can in terms of what the community needs. We try to deliver. And that's my role, is being sort of on the ground in the heartbeat of the community, trying to make sure our staff are out there delivering, and I'm still out there delivering what the community truly needs.
But you're still a sportsman at heart.
Yes, so, I think so, yeah.
What have you taken from sport that continues to apply to your leadership journey?
Oh, great question. When you put a team together, you look for certain dynamics and attributes in the team, and I think that's got to be applied in our sector as well. We in Generation Rhondda, we're trying to put together a team, a family, because that way I think we do better work. So because we run such broad projects, they often interlink, and that can only be done by having really good communication and really good teamwork. So yeah, sport does that better than anywhere else, is creating teams and dynamics with different people with different skill sets. So I like to think I've brought that from the sports sector perhaps into our sector.
Do you feel comfortable being called a leader?
I feel way more comfortable being called a leader than a manager. I think they're very different. And I think like James Hall was a project manager at People and Work when I started. He got involved with every project we did. He would support us when we needed support in. If I was unwell, he would go and fill the boots of whatever I was doing at that time. And I've tried to be the same. I think leaders show a lot of trust. I like to think, they lead from the front. They lead with purpose. That's how I try to lead. And again, I've been very lucky. I've had really good people sort of ahead of me show me those ropes. And as I try to navigate some of this on my own now, I definitely make mistakes. But I've got a relationship with my staff where they can say, I really didn't appreciate that. And I go, that won't happen again, sort of thing. So it's very difficult. And I think there's a very big difference between managing and leading. And I like to think, I'm more of a leader than a manager.
And if you had to define your leadership style, what would it be?
Everyone in the office probably says chaotic. I think sort of to get technical, laissez-faire, perhaps, quite laid back. And that's only because I really trust the staff we've got. I never have to micromanage. We're so blessed with the talent we've got at Generation Rhondda that I can be laid back and I can be out in the community. I don't have to be, overseeing projects or anything like that. I can be out finding out what the core need is and then trying to tackle that in whatever way, shape or form that comes.
So through sport and through the social sector, who have been the people who have supported you and also inspired you in your leadership journey?
Sort of definitely in our sector, I think. Mark Hutton in sport, he sort of gave me my first opportunity, I think. And he sort of recognised perhaps I had a little bit more to give than just being rugby coach. And then I think James Hall and Sarah Lloyd-Jones have sort of mentored me and shaped me perhaps in ways even they don't know to become who I am today and doing what I'm doing today. So when Mark went to find a different job, it was literally just me and James Hall in the project team. He has shaped me probably more than he realises, helped me get into university, supported me through university. I'm still there now. And Sarah Lloyd-Jones is not a leader I ever thought I would meet coming from a sports background. Very calm, Very, everything's going to be okay. We can work it out. Consensus, that's where I learned that bit of advice from, getting people on side. And I'm just very lucky. And I think lots of people come into the sector and perhaps they don't have these good mentors. I was lucky, I had 2 straight away. And 3, including Mark Hutton in one sense. So perhaps I hit the jackpot. But yeah, very important people to get me to where I am today.
And any advice they've given you that still applies today?
Yes, actually, I can think of a really good one. So Sarah Lloyd-Jones, Director of People and Work, talks about consensus and having people always on side to make decisions. And I've imagine some of the coaches I've coached under now, very like, this is how we're doing it, this is Rhondda rugby, sort of in the rain, smash through sort of things. And I think Sarah talks about consensus in a way where she's able to bring us, to People and Work on board in a very different way to what I've ever seen before. So that's really key, having people on board, and creating consensus to make decisions for the organisation.
Brilliant, brilliant. Very inclusive.
Very inclusive, yeah, very inclusive.
So if you wanted to change one thing about the social sector now, what would that be?
I think it would have to be somewhere along the lines of communication. I think some places have these like hubs where social sector organisations thrive, and then in other places it doesn't happen as well. And I think we would get so much more achieved by making sure clear communication is set. And even with funders, we've seen in the Rhondda. Now the Rhonda's really small in comparative to London, Manchester and stuff like that, and we've seen organisations apply the same pot of funding with the same project. And how has that happened? How has that conversation not happened? And I think that's something we are trying to strive to better in the Rhondda. And we're lucky, we got like our WCVA is really good at trying to connect organisations together.
That's your local voluntary sector infrastructure organisation.
Interlink is ours, yeah. And we work closely with them to try and achieve that, essentially. And I think that is something I would change through the landscape all the way through the UK.
And if I were to ask, what worries you about the social sector and your role within it?
Probably, I don't know, strain, burnout, funding, all those things come as part of being in the sector. But I think what we're looking at now is similar to education in one sense. We are being tasked to deal with things that we are not experts in, and things are changing so quickly. And part of that is because of what we're doing now, social media, like the riots we've seen, how quickly was that able to mobilise across the UK? Like, we've seen people in the Rhondda go to prison for that, for, inciting racial hatred. The government says they got no money, so it's left to people like us then to clean up that. And how we act and how we define ourselves could literally affect a generation below us. And I think that you've got to have really broad shoulders to accept that. And knowing that is on your head, then, then it's hard to fall asleep at night, I think. So I think that's one thing I find really challenging, is how quickly problems are occurring. By the time we're fighting one problem, there's a massive fire and we're trying to fight that as well.
So can I ask then, how do you stay so sunny and positive?
I just think there is so many people like way more worse off, I think. And bit by bit, we are trying to tackle that. So I think you've got to have that sunny and positive outlook in one sense. And I think it takes a tremendously strong person to say, right, James, or right, Caroline, I need your help. And the fact that they've chose to come and speak to you about that, I think if you were there going, I don't know, you can't be like that. This person is literally at such a crunch point in their life. They're coming to you and asking for help. So, yeah, that's why I try to have a super outgoing, positive outlook on life. And I think, just go from there. And, I'm really lucky. I had really good parents, really good siblings, and they are very much the same in that respect, sort of super outgoing, real positive, things will work out sort of mentality. And I'm trying to, implement that as a core of Generation Rhondda, and I think it's working, I think all the staff are very much the same. So yeah, I think that's my token, I guess, and that's what I try to put into the Rhondda.
Thank you very much, James.
No problem, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to The Ripple Effect, brought to you by the Rank Foundation and Purposeful Marketing. This episode featured James Watts-Rees, the director of Generation Rhondda. The producers were Cass Denton, alongside Michaela Carmichael, Jane Morgan and Dominic Delargay, courtesy of the Feast Collective. Tune into The Ripple Effect